Hi, and welcome to the first class in the series from the Blue Mountain Village and Iwa Spa. You're joining us today in our Gambanyoko studio, which is a very special gem we have here. It is a heated volcanic rock floor. So in our normal classes here, we practice directly on the rock. As the volcanic rock is heated up, it releases negative ions and infrared rays. So lots of good stuff happening here. Great to put your body on, as well as all those negative ions. Great for detox, insomnia, weight loss. We're going to take you through a class today, starting with kind of a little bit of yoga basics. Some of us haven't really moved all that much through this whole COVID-19 episode. So we're going to start off with just a little bit of movement, getting your body started. A great class you can build on to add in individual poses. My name is Treva, so welcome, and let's have a nice comfortable seat. Sitting up nice and tall, we can just let ourselves soften here, closing our eyes, just tuning into our surroundings. Maybe it's the first little quiet time we've taken today. So just starting to really notice our bodies, our breath. Feeling a little bit of how our body moves as we breathe. So not changing our breath in any way yet. Let's notice that natural rhythm of our inhales and exhales, where our body moves as we breathe. And maybe as we do that, we can notice a little bit about ourselves today. So whether we feel a little bit quiet, maybe we're feeling tired. So just checking in, getting that first little snapshot of what's happening. Maybe starting to kind of lengthen our breath. So we're starting to draw those inhales and exhales out a little bit longer, sitting up a little bit taller, drawing that belly in, thinking about those sit bones, that yoga term for those two little bumps on the bottom, seeing if we can connect into our space, whether we're on our mat or sitting on our carpet, just really rooting down into our space. Lifting the crown of our head a little bit taller, letting those shoulders get a little bit softer. And as our breath lengthens, we can start to kind of concentrate on our body. So letting go of everything outside of our space, taking that time to really connect. Set aside your to-do list, your plans for later, and just pick those up when we leave our practice. But for now, let's concentrate on our breath, our body. Making our breath a little bit longer, seeing if we can push those exhales just a tiny bit longer than our inhales. Starting to fill our belly, our rib cage, our chest, as we get a little bit longer, taking up as much space as we can today. And noticing as that breath gets bigger, how it changes our body. Can we feel a little bit more in our spine? Maybe it's our hips. We can feel that rib cage expand. Starting to move a little bit here. Let's open our eyes, sit up nice and tall. Take a big inhale, and on your exhale, just let your chin fall into your chest. So we're just gonna stretch out the back of our neck. Shoulders are back. We've drawn ourselves in. We're sitting up nice and tall. Maybe it feels nice to roll a little bit to one side, stretching it out, finding that nice juicy spot. Exhaling as you come through center and over to the other side. Exhaling as we move to center. Inhale, look all the way up. Get that nice stretch to the front of our throat. Big breath into our chest. Exhaling as we come back to center. Adjusting our seat, you can always have your legs out front. You don't have to sit cross-legged. You can sit on a block, make yourself more comfortable. On an inhale, let's take our arms all the way up. And when we do, we're gonna drop those shoulders down. We tend to reach up. We wanna let ourselves get a little bit softer there. Pressing our thumbs behind us. Let's hold here for 2 breaths, feeling that press out in our side body, getting a little bit wider through our rib cage. And on your next exhale, we'll bring our hands to heart center. Let's press those palms together, shoulders fall. Inhale, we take our arms all the way back up. Again, thinking about those shoulders, nice long giraffe neck, and on our exhale, let's take them here. And one more time like that, warming up those shoulders, kind of feeling our body move. This time we're gonna keep our hands up here. Take a nice big inhale, and on your exhale, drop your hand over and reach. Doesn't matter which side you go to. Thinking about really plugging that opposite hip into the mat so we get that nice stretch into our body. Again, drawing our belly in, our shoulder falls down. Even though we're reaching, we're still getting lots of space. One more breath here. Inhaling, we take both arms up. And on an exhale, we move to the other side. Again, thinking about that opposite hip, nice and strong. We're still keeping our length in here. We're not having ourselves down. We want to be nice and long as we lift, breathing in. Inhaling, both arms come up. And exhale, we'll bring our hands back to center. Let our hands come to our thighs, to our knees, however we are. Take a nice big inhale, and on an exhale, just walk yourself over to one side. So we're coming into a nice gentle twist. When we come into our yoga postures in the beginning, we're just kind of really waking up our body, seeing how we feel, still getting that sense of how we're moving today. So don't pull yourself over. Let's use our breath. Inhaling as we lift, and exhaling as we twist. We might look over that back shoulder. We might stay looking over to the side, just depending on how we're feeling today. Sitting up nice and tall. One more breath here. And on an exhale, we'll walk ourselves through center and over to the other side. Again, not forcing it, just feeling our bodies here, still checking in with our breath, still kind of getting that feeling of what's happening today. Our next exhale, we'll move back to center. Draw your belly button in, shoulders come over our hips. Let's take 2 big breaths here, just noticing if our body's changed any. Maybe we're feeling a little bit longer through our spine. Our shoulders are getting a little bit warm. And on that last exhale, just take a few movements here. So just maybe rolling ourselves from side to side, feeling our hips a little bit. Moving in through our bodies, back and forth. Any shoulder circles you'd like to take. Using our breath. Nice, big, exaggerated movements. And making sure to switch directions after a few breaths. Taking one more breath here as we come back to center. And exhaling, we'll place both of our hands in front. We're gonna come on to our hands and knees. So coming into our tabletop position, spreading our fingers nice and wide. So thinking about when we come into our fingers, taking that off of our wrists. We're not using our wrists to hold up any of our weight, drawing our belly button in, and we're gonna move into our cat-cows here. So still just waking up our bodies, checking in with ourselves. Take a nice big inhale, tilt your pelvis forward, let your belly drop. We're gonna draw those shoulders down, look all the way up, getting that nice stretch in through our front body. And on our exhales, we're gonna round, draw our belly button into our spine, let our head hang. So just taking a few cycles here, moving with our body, stretching it out, and seeing if we can initiate this movement in our hips. So letting it just flow through our spine, thinking about that ripple on the water. And as always, if it feels good to take a little bit of a different movement here, maybe a hip wag, some barrel rolls through your shoulders, just kind of feeling our body still, taking that intuitive flow and movement. And from here, we'll come back to center, take that nice neutral spine, and we're gonna press ourselves back into child's pose. So pressing into our fingers, take an inhale nice and long. Exhale, we send our hips back to our heels, as close as they get. It might not be very far. Walk those hands out. We'll bring our forehead down to the mat, seeing if we can move our shoulders out to the side. So instead of letting ourselves come up here, we want to think about reaching toward the outside of our mat, pressing those hips back, constantly reaching the crown of our head away from our tailbone and letting ourselves sink here. You can always let your forearms drop, take it into more of a passive movement if you like, thinking about kind of getting wide through our shoulders, reaching them towards the edge of the mat, and that space that you create, get nice and puffy in here. Taking 4 or 5 breaths here as we just let ourselves settle in. Noticing what happens as our breath weaves through those back ribs, along our spine, checking in with our hips. Coming back to those nice long inhales and exhales, letting our body fill up on each inhale, and on each exhale, we get rid of it completely. On your next exhale, let's take it into our side a little bit. We're gonna walk our hands over to one side. I'm going to the left first, pressing that opposite hip back, and thinking about sending our breath all the way from that hip, weaving it up in through our rib cage, getting long through that underarm, all the way up to the tip of those pinky fingers, and watching that shoulder. Every time we reach up, they want to come right up towards our ear. We still want to get nice and wide. One more breath here. And exhaling as you walk all the way through center and over to the other side. Pressing our hips back, getting nice and wide here. Exhaling as you come back to center. We'll take another breath here, noticing any changes we might have from those stretches. Our body feels a little different. And then we'll start to move a little bit more. So inhaling, we come back up to tabletop and just take a few wags here. Few circles through our knees. And we'll come in to our shoulders a little bit. Starting with thread the needle, we'll start with our left hand. So nice and long, draw our belly in. On an inhale, reach that arm all the way up, and we'll follow it with our eyes. We get a little bit of a twist. And on our exhale, we're gonna thread it underneath, coming onto our shoulder, our temple. Breathing in. You can walk your hand out as an option. You can leave it here, and really rooting in that connection with our shoulder and the mat. Nice and wide through our back body, thinking about reaching those fingers away as we pull our shoulder back. One more breath here, as big as we can get in between those shoulder blades. And on an inhale, we press ourselves back up. Take your time for that reset, find that alignment, and we'll switch sides. Inhaling all the way up, and exhaling as we come down to the other side. So again, thinking about that connection with the rock. That arm can reach up. We can tent ourselves on our fingers. We can let our forearm hang down. Nice and long here, not scrunching up, keeping that length in through our neck. One more breath. Getting rid of all that exhale. And then inhaling all the way back up. And from here we're going to move into a lunge. So nice basic movements today. Anyone can do them. We're nice and strong. We're just going to step our left foot forward. Could be your right. Thinking about that lunge, nice and long, sinking into our hips. Option if your mat is too skinny or you're finding any discomfort on that back knee, you can wrap that in. You can use a block, 2 blocks for your hands. You can take your hands right up here. We're gonna do this in stages. So thinking about keeping our knee over our ankle, nice and long, reaching through our chest. Instead of just letting ourselves flop down here, we're getting that length. So a little bit more length into our hip flexor. We're gonna take our hands to our thighs next. Shoulders are down, that nice giraffe neck, lots of space. And then if you like, you can take your arms all the way up to the sky. Options, press those thumbs back, let your shoulders fall. We can take our arms out wide into cactus, create a little bit more space in our chest. Drawing our belly in, thinking about those ribs tucking in. Press into your feet. We're not just letting ourselves go here. Use your breath. Inhale, we'll take our arms all the way up, big breath. Exhale, framing our foot. Inhale, we come nice and long. Exhale, we're gonna walk those hips back, pull our toes off, get a nice little stretch in through the back of our leg. So instead of rounding here, we might need blocks. We could use books, we could use pots and pans. It doesn't matter. Thinking about kind of getting that length all the way from our heel up through our hamstring, right up into our glutes. 2 more breaths. Our next inhale, we walk ourselves forward. Exhale, sink those hips. Big inhale as we lift our chest. And on our exhale, we're just gonna bring ourselves back to table. So not a lot of movements. Might take you to get there a little differently. Let's give a hip wag. Keep moving. And then we'll come back to center, press into those fingers again. Get your alignment, and then we're gonna switch sides, stepping that right foot forward. We'll hang out here for a bit. Back toes could be curled if it feels better, but again, watching that knee. So either getting a blanket, folding it over if you need to, starting to lift up through that chest, Noticing the difference from one side to the other. Our hip flexor here, how does it feel? Are we a little bit deeper? Is this more uncomfortable? Do we feel tighter here? Our next inhale, we'll take ourselves up to that next level. Again, pressing into that front foot. We want to be nice and stable here. As you start to move into bigger classes or in through some standing poses, we want to have a lot more stability in through those feet. And finally, that next level, taking our hands all the way up to the sky. Last time we came out here, we have the option, maybe interlace our fingers behind our head, again squeeze, but not letting ourselves go soft here. Nice and tucked in through our belly, our rib cage is tight. We've knit it together. One more breath. Our next inhale, we take our arms all the way up. Exhale, we bring it down, framing our foot. Inhale again, reach maybe that last little stretch on that left side. Exhale, walk it back. We'll pull our toes off. Reach that chest forward, so nice and long. Noticing again the difference from one side to the other. For me, this is much tighter, so I can feel it a lot higher up here. So I need to use my breath in those spaces. Press that big toe forward, draw your pinky back, 3 breaths. Again, we can be up a little bit higher if we needed some props. Keeping ourselves nice and long here, belly is in, our shoulders are down. Inhale, we come all the way forward, reach that chest. Curl our back toe, take an exhale, let those hips sink. This time we're going to transition to the front of our mat. So inhale, we step forward. Exhale, forward fold. So we might be saying hello to our hamstrings a little bit. Keep those knees bent as much as you need to. Grab opposite elbows if you like. Little sway from side to side. Thinking about maybe straightening our legs a little bit more, shaking our head yes and no. And then taking a nice big inhale, release your hands, exhale. We're gonna slowly roll ourselves all the way up. Our head is the last to come up, those shoulders come down. And we're gonna find mountain pose or Tadasana. So standing at the top of your mat or the middle, wherever you're comfortable, thinking about keeping our feet. Doesn't matter. Some people have it hip width apart. Some people bring their toes together. Whatever's comfortable for your body. Closing your eyes, lifting the crown of your head. And I want you to envision yourself blocking your body. So stacking your joints one on top of the other. Our knees come over our ankles. Our hips come over our knees. Our shoulders come over our hips. Reaching the crown of our head up, tilting just slightly forward with our chin so we find that length in the back of our neck. Nice and tall, belly's in. We're just gonna move a little bit more here. Still in that basic movements for yoga. Just getting a little bit bigger with our movements, allowing a little bit more breath to come into our bodies. On your next inhale, take your arms all the way up. And on our exhale, we're gonna fold forward. So reaching our chest out as far as it will go. We get all that length in our spine. Get rid of all your breath. On our inhale, we're gonna come up halfway. So in the beginning, it might be nice and easy to bring our hands to our shins. Really shine that chest forward. Press back with your tailbone. Exhale, we release back into that forward fold. Again, still keeping our knees bent a little bit as much as we need to. Our next inhale takes us all the way back up. Press through those feet, bring your arms up. Exhale, we come back to heart center. Inhaling back up, Reaching up, shoulders stay down. Exhale as you fold forward. Reach, reach, reach that chest. Get rid of all your breath. Inhale, halfway. And exhale, release. All the way up, pressing through those feet as we come up. Exhale, hands at heart center. One more time, putting it all together, inhaling as we come up. Exhale, fold. Halfway on your inhale. Again, thinking about those shoulders wide, that chest in. We're looking up no matter where we are. And exhale to release. Inhale up. Exhale, hands at heart center. Taking our feet hip width a little bit wider, we're gonna come in to a little bit of a different fold. So you'll notice the difference. Inhale up, changing it up, exhale as we fold. So middle ground here between our regular kind of shoulder width stance and our wide leg forward fold, which I'm sure we'll get into later in the series. Just thinking about kind of, again, releasing our bodies here. Lift those hips. Think about your pelvis as a little bowl. We're pouring that coffee out, that soup, pouring our spine so we come down. Maybe we sway a little bit from side to side. Let's come back up on our inhale to that halfway. And on our exhale, we're gonna drop our bums and find ourselves in our squat. So adjusting our feet a little bit, thinking about kind of opening that V of our hips. You can always sit on a block, you can always sit on books. You can keep yourself stacked up there if you can only go down this far. Lifting through our chest, sinking our tailbone, hands come to heart center, you can reach them out, but we're not letting ourselves just kind of hang out here. We're nice and big. Each breath takes us farther, sitting up. Shoulders are down, we lift up. Thinking about the width of our hips, the length in our spine. One more breath. Exhaling, place your hands in front. Take a nice big inhale. We're gonna send our bums back up, walk our feet heel toe, just back to that regular stance. And we'll do a little sway here. If we want to grab opposite elbows, again, we can. Inhaling halfway. Exhale, get rid of all your breath to that fold. Maybe our legs are a little bit straighter as we loosen those hamstrings, pressing through our feet. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Inhale, we come all the way up. We're going to turn our palms away from one another. Exhale, press that air away. Interlace your fingers behind you. So standing up nice and tall, we're going to move them away from our bums. Shoulders are down, breathing into our chest. Now we're going to take this into that forward fold. So a little micro bend in our knees, we lift up, same thing. Exhale, reach that chest. Letting our hands, our shoulders fall a little bit closer to the mat. So just taking one more breath here, pressing those shoulders up to the sky, getting nice and big through our chest. exhaling, we release our hands down to the mat. Let's take one more nice halfway lift. Coming up nice and tall again, hands on the mat, hands to those shins. Big and long through our spine. Exhale, release into that forward fold. And we're just gonna make our way down onto our bum. So exhaling, we can drop ourselves right down onto our toes. Come on down. Let's bring both of our legs out in front of us. Again, finding that connection, moving ourselves around those sit bones there. Nice fleshy bits. Sitting up nice and tall, bringing our shoulders over our hips. We're gonna lift up through that chest. Nice way to make sure we have that length in our spine on our inhale. We take those arms all the way up. We're gonna reach forward with our chest and exhale as we fold. Does not matter how far down your hands go, but I want you to think about that tilt forward. So again, lifting ourselves up, pouring our torso out of our pelvis, and we're gonna breathe here. No matter where we are, we're reaching our chest toward our feet. Doesn't matter if you can bring your head down to your knees. We want all that length in our spine. So the difference is that big reach. Let's take 4 breaths here. Feeling it in our hamstrings, flexing those feet. Using our breath, thinking about that little inchworm on the log. Every inhale, maybe we lift up just a tiny bit. We reach even that millimeter further. Exhale, we fold. Inhaling, we get a little bit longer. Exhale, we release. One more breath. And on your exhale, we'll slowly roll ourselves up. Gently grab the backs of your knees, draw the soles of your feet together. Sitting up nice and tall, grabbing onto our toes, our ankles. We're gonna see if we can start to press those knees out. Again, not rounding, we're gonna lift up nice and tall, sending those legs out. We can stay here. Feels good on our hips, a little bit onto our inner thighs, or we can start that forward fold again. So inhale, we lift, and instead of bringing our forehead down to our feet, we're gonna reach that belly button forward. So imagining we're hooking, a little hook on our toes, our belly button, and each one is just bringing us a little bit closer, letting those knees hang out, keeping that spine nice and long. You can have that length in the back of your neck. Again, breathe here, use your breath. We're still nice and long, nice and wide. Our next exhale, let's release, roll ourselves up, take our hands to the outside of our knees. We're just gonna close our legs, and I want you to walk your feet just hip distance apart, maybe a little bit farther away. We're gonna get in one last stretch. I'll start at this angle, taking our left hand behind our left leg, grabbing onto our right thigh. The opposite arm does the same. So we've got that little bind here. You can change it as you go. Option is to be here as well. When we move back a little bit further, you'll see once we get into that pose. Inhaling, we lift up and move this way for the visual. And on an exhale, I want you to start to round. So really thinking about sending that lower back out, our middle back, right through those shoulders, belly button is in, letting our head hang. So thinking about that big turtle shell. So we're using this as a bind. So we might bring ourselves down. Maybe we're coming down even farther. We need a little bit more of a grip. We just grab the backs of our thighs, getting all that width into our back body. One last breath in there, as big and wide as we can take it. And then inhale, we drive that chest right up, nice and long through our spine. Exhale, we release, making our way down onto our backs. And let's bring our knees into our chest for a hug. So giving them a nice squeeze, grabbing on, rocking back and forth, giving our lower back a little massage. Thinking about those shoulders connecting, that length in our neck. And then exhaling, we'll release our feet. We'll get into our hips just before we finish. So feet are hip width apart. We're gonna start, our left ankle comes to our right thigh. If we look up, we can see that little figure 4 we've created. Options just to hang out here, press that knee out, breathe into our body. Maybe we wanna step that right foot a little bit closer to our bum, or maybe we wanna take the full posture, interlace our fingers on the back of that right leg. And we're gonna use it, leg can stay straight. You can take it a little bit more passive, let that knee bend. But on our inhales, we're gonna draw that right leg in, keeping our feet flexed. And exhale, we're gonna press out into that left hip. So we may be able to use that left elbow to get a little bit farther. We want to be nice and wide. So not only are we inhaling in and exhaling as we press out into this hip, but I want you to think about moving your glutes away from one another, getting as wide as we can on that exhale. One more breath. Releasing our feet, let's take them both down to the mat and just do a little windshield wiper from side to side, dropping our knees from one side to the other, just moving it through those hips a little bit and then coming back to center. Again, setting up, reaching wide. We know our hips, our feet are in line. Inhale, right ankle comes to that left thigh. We press it out, flex this foot to protect our knee. Again, the options, just hang out, draw it a little bit closer, or reach through that little keyhole. Breathing here as we go. Wide through our hips. Shoulders are down away from our ears. Noticing how this feels from one side to the other. Using our breath, inhale, 2 more. We draw our leg closer, exhale, we get a little bit wider. Releasing our legs. Again, do that little windshield wiper, maybe you want to draw them into your knees, into your chest one more time. Give a nice little squeeze. And we're gonna release our feet back, finishing with a twist. So taking our feet mat width apart, we'll lift up our hips, just roll that spine out. Our shoulders are down nice and long. Arms can come out into a T. You can take them up. They can rest on your belly. Nice big inhale. And on our exhale, we'll let our legs fall over to one side. I've gone to the left first. Nice and comfy, nice and long. Thinking about our breath wide across our pelvis. Inhaling up long into our torso. The option is to pick up that bottom foot. So on my side, it's the left. Place it on the top thigh, which is our right. That's just gonna get a little bit more length in through this right hip. So a little bit more stretch into that IT bend, maybe a little bit more length into the side body here, drawing that knee down a little bit closer. Breathe here. Sending our breath all the way through our bodies. Holding these poses for as long as you need to. We're kind of speeding it up a little bit so we can make it short and sweet for you guys to practice. But if you need to stay here for 10, 15, 20 breaths, 5 minutes, listen to your body and allow yourself to breathe into it. One more breath here and we'll switch sides. We're gonna release our foot. Inhale, bringing our knees to center, adjusting any way we need to. Exhaling as we fall over to the other side. Again, lots of options. Maybe it feels better on this side to have it here. Pick up that foot if you like, place it on your top thigh. Getting nice and wide. Thinking about breathing into our bodies. We come into these twists. Kind of sending our breath, giving our internal organs a little bit of massage as we push them around with our inhales and exhales. Releasing your foot if you have it. Inhale, we'll bring our legs to center. Exhale, let all that breath out. And before we come into Shavasana, our final pose, let's inhale, draw our legs in, find happy baby. So options, grabbing the outside of our feet, we take those knees wide. Maybe it's just the backs of our thighs. Sending our tailbone down toward the bottom of our mat. Our elbows are out, our shoulders are wide. Let's take 5 breaths here. Thinking about those shoulders reaching toward the mat, our chest is nice and wide. We feel this not only in our hips, but through our shoulder blades, our rib cage. Last chance to take up all that space in through our body. Press those feet up as you draw them down. So nice and active. Maybe it feels nice to rock back and forth a little bit. And on an exhale, we'll release. We're setting up for our final pose. So any other movements you want to take, anything else you need to do, anything you need to be comfortable for these last moments, maybe taking a sweater or some socks, or if you have a blanket. We're gonna let our legs come long, picking up our shoulders, kind of reaching everything out towards the edges of our mat. We don't want that spine to be scrunched up. We wanna lift those hips up, press them down, give them a little wiggle so we can let those feet splay out to the side. Take your arms a little bit wider. Maybe rolling our head back and forth so we find that perfect spot. And then just allowing our bodies to settle here. All we're doing is breathing into our space. Inhaling as we fill our bodies, exhaling as we just get out of its way. Let everything start to sink in. Thinking about relaxing through our muscles, all those big muscles that run up and down our arms and legs, in through our core. On next exhale, just let everything get a little bit softer, a little bit heavier. Letting the backs of our knees, the fronts of our elbows go. Our hips and shoulders get a little bit heavy. It's going to allow kind of that belly to lift and soften, our chest to open. Letting our belly button drop to our spine. Releasing those teeny spaces, the soles of our feet, in between our toes, center of our palms. Relaxing through your throat, releasing through your jaw, letting it hang open a little bit, resting your tongue behind your 2 front teeth. Exhaling as you soften muscles of your face, around your mouth, your nose, your ears. Let your eyes go heavy. Your brow widens. Just allow yourself to let go. Everything you need is right here, right now. Let go of your breath. The noises, the sensations around you fade. Staying here for as long as you need, whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes, just allow yourself to release. We'll leave you here in this cozy, comfy spot, and we look forward to seeing you in our next class. Namaste.